Moving cargo is a difficult business to be in. There are a lot of things involved in that. The most important thing is how much it is costing to many of the big companies. Logistics often seen as the cost center for operations of many of the companies. Now, that's exactly why technology can play a very important role in optimizing and implementing the right logistics and supply chain methods. We have technology companies around the world who is doing that. That's exactly why we have this conversation. Hi all, thank you so much for joining. This is Libin Chako Korean from Start Publishing Group. We are here in Singapore for Transport Logistics and Air Cargo Southeast Asia. Right now, joining me is the CEO, MD, and the VP of Southeast Asia of the Siemens Digital Industries Software, Mr. Alex Teo.
Thank you.
Thank you. We also have Mr. Emre. He's the business leader for Siemens Digital Logistics. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's start by talking about the company and its presence in Southeast Asia specifically. What are the kind of solutions that you offer to a company that wants to move their cargo? I know you provide the digital solutions not just for logistics, but how logistics fit into your entire set of list of softwares you
Yeah,
have.
so thank you, Lipin. And so that's a great question because I think that's also where we are different from the other players. Siemens Digital Industries Software is a full portfolio company. We offer solution from end to end, from requirement gathering to design to engineering to production planning to manufacturing execution, and then of course supply chain logistics, which is where we're talking about today here in transport logistics events. So for our customers who are looking at solving challenges for their supply chain, especially on transportation, SDL is one of its important solution. This is cloud SaaS platform. So this is what we offer to our customer in Southeast Asia, which is a very important region for us because majority of the supply chain are all situated in Southeast Asia across in APAC. So this is actually what we do for our customer.
A follow-up question, specifically because you are handling the Southeast Asia region. How it is different, do you think, from other regions in the world? What are the type of companies that you have as clients here, and what they expect from you?
Okay, I'll answer in one part, and then I'll have Emre also compare that with Europe because I think he has a lot of experience in Europe. But from my perspective in Southeast Asia, it is not just one country. It's a collection of different countries at different maturity level. So, for example, in Singapore, we have a very highly matured situation where there are many customers who are already fully aware of what logistics software could do for them. There are also countries where providing visibility is still a challenge because they're still very manual. So we see a uneven spread of awareness and maturity across in Southeast Asia. But if you compare what happens in APAC to Europe, I think it's also a different picture. So maybe Emily, yeah, why don't you share some of this as well?
Sure, thank you. So yes, in Europe, we have traditionally established supply chain solutions, supply chain setup of companies. Headquarters might be traditionally in Europe, the locations all around the globe, suppliers all around the globe, and basically many decisions were being taken in the headquarters in Europe and executed outside. We see that this picture is changing now, actually, right? What we see is that Asia is rapidly developing to a full-scale supply chain ecosystem, I would say. Companies are, let me give you an example, an analogy. You can compare Asia now with a 3-star Michelin restaurant, actually. In the past, maybe Asia was providing the ingredients to this restaurant. Now Asia is designing the restaurant. Now Asian companies are designing the menus, defining the whole processes at the highest quality standards. So they are running the whole business basically, right? By 2030, global transportation, 50% of the global transportation is expected to run inner Asia, right? So companies see that, companies already invest, and we see a huge demand to digitalize holistically, invest into supply chain management and digitalization of these processes. Why? because they see this is the only way to scale their businesses, and they are getting ready for this.
Okay, thanks for giving that perspective. Let me go back to Alex. Can you take us through the solutions that you have? It's not just about logistics, but take us through the solutions, particularly you have for a company that wants to move their cargo in Southeast Asia, for example. What does it look like?
Well, okay. I think to reframe your question was more specific about moving the cargo, but I will back it up to the point where the companies are also involved in the production and the design of the product before they can move the cargo. So what it will look like in a typical manufacturer would be they have a design department. They will be using our design solution, creating a digital twin of the product, and then they can test it with simulation and get a digital twin of the performance. And then, of course, with the digital twin, they can actually refine the design to get to the most optimum design. And then it goes to the manufacturing planning and production, where the guys are leveraging the same digital twin to do planning and production. And of course, you can test all the different scenarios on the issues that you might face in the production, whether it is human or machine, and those can be tested out virtually. And of course, that would actually minimize the downtime and also speed up the new product introduction. Then, of course, you do the production execution. We have the full solution that drive the execution as well with the manufacturing. Then it actually gets into the logistics and supply chain. So, and the reason why I bring it up is because across all these different stages, they are usually done with solo or separate software, which are not integrated with one another. And that actually is the core of many issues because the data are not flowing across the entire value chain. And when you don't have that trusted data flow across the entire value chain, you can't compress it because it is really difficult if you are doing it manually. And the value for us is where we are very, very differentiated from the rest is that we don't just offer the supply chain, but we offer all the other solutions that come before supply chain that has an impact. So in fact, you can basically shift left and predict any engineering design change. What is the impact for me at the logistics and supply chain? Because we offer that entire data flow across the value chain.
Okay, you recently announced about your launch or the implementation of the AX4 product for one of the particular client in Southeast Asia. From that experience, take us through what are the challenges basically these shippers or your clients may face and how you try to solve.
Okay. You want to take that, Emre?
Sure, I can
Yeah.
take it. Is that okay if I give an example to the previous question that Alex was explaining? Because I think that is going to be very interesting for the cargo audience.
Sure.
So you were saying, let's start let's expand the supply chain story to the very beginning of the process in a company, to the design phase. Now imagine an R&D department designing a new dishwasher. What if this dishwasher, the designer thinks that, hey, I would like to expand the dimensions of this dishwasher by 1 centimeter higher, right? It might have a huge impact on the stackability of dishwashers later in a container. So because of that 1 centimeter, you might have to stack up only 2 dishwashers on top of each other and not 3 anymore. And imagine now the space that you are actually not leveraging in your cargo. It has a huge impact on the transportation cost. It has a huge impact on the carbon footprint as well that you're generating, right? So these are the things which we support with our solutions.
You talk a lot about the digital twins, for example.
Yes.
Can you give us, including some examples, give us an idea about how is the real impact of that on logistics and supply chain, really? What is the solution that this brings to some of your clients?
Yeah. So we have a solution called Supply Chain Suite. In Supply Chain Suite, you can build digital twins of your supply chain. So you basically create a digital representation of your supply chain. You define where your plants are, where your suppliers are, where your distribution centers are, what your business in terms of transportation is. So what means are you using, what type of transportation ways, modes, what is the volume, business volume behind it, what is the sales volume, and so on and so forth. You get the picture. And this gives you the ability to elevate your supply chain into a digital version, basically, and understand how it works. And then you can apply business scenarios. For instance, you can apply an increased sales scenario from A to B. Let's say in India, you're increasing your sales because of the forecast that your sales guys have told you. So you can see before you start executing in your supply chain, what is the impact of this increased sales volume in my supply chain? So my warehouse guys tell me that I might need to expand the space. Maybe you don't have to. Maybe the bottleneck will be somewhere else. Maybe you need new transportation contracts. Maybe you need to increase your transportation capacity. Maybe you cannot go that way because it's going to have a huge impact on your transportation cost. Then salespeople will tell you, hey, it will impact our margin later, right? So these are the impacts that you can generate, that we can help our customers generate basically for their businesses, creating a digital twin of their supply chain, running scenarios on top of it, and evaluating what is the outcome of my future business, basically, looking at these business scenarios.
Okay, thanks for bringing in those perspectives. Alex, can you bring in some regional insights into that? For example, as I also mentioned, logistics is a cost center. You need to have optimization of your supply chain to bring down the cost, for example. How really you're trying to solve that here in Southeast Asia? What are you listening from your clients, for example, and what you bring it back to your tech team, for example? What are you listening from your clients, basically?
Well, what we are actually seeing is you're right. Traditionally, logistics is actually a cost sink or a cost center, and now the clients, many of our customers are looking at it from a different perspective. They are using logistics, transportation, supply chain as a differentiator. Now, actually, if you really look at the entire scenario today, the region is really focusing on resilience, right? So it used to be cost only, and now we are looking at not just about cost. You have to be resilient, because what if it's not about how much, but it's about what if something happened? Do I still have the robust supply chain that can support my business? And because this can be a huge impact for many of the customers. So what we actually try to do is to turn these complexities into a competitive advantage. And this is the kind of things that the customers are looking for. How can I use digital tool with data and insight and use that and turn that into a competitive advantage that I can win against the competition? And I believe that Southeast Asia, as I mentioned earlier, we have of course an uneven maturity of this. However, we are in a very good position. We have, for example, one of our customer in Thailand, Thanakon Vegetable Oil. They partner with us on our SDL, Siemens Logistics Software, to help them to drive visibility across their entire supply chain. And this is actually one of those companies where we will say that are really forward-looking, and then they choose the right partner with us. And then we are really happy to work with many of such companies across in the region as well.
Okay, the company is providing optimization and helping the company in the implementation of this supply chain and movement of cargo. But take us through, for example, you mentioned the visibility part. How do you do that, first of all, and what is the impact of that, for example, to a company? Take us through that, maybe.
Yeah. So in this particular case, we are helping our customer to create a visibility of their supply chain process from South America, because their suppliers are in South America. They buy from South America via vessels coming to Thailand. It's a very long way. Many things can go wrong. Things can start late. These things happen in supply chain all the time. So it's very important to understand as soon as a disruption happens, to be informed, first of all, and secondly, to have a backup plan and to be able to act upon it, right? So what we provide is basically we are following the milestone plan that is designed for our customer, that is describing and managing the relationship between the supplier, the vessels, and also the customer here. And from here, the deliveries go to the factory. Then they start the production, and after the production, the outbound process starts, right? So they take the outbound products to the next warehouse, and from the warehouse to the end customer, and so on and so on. So there's a huge chain. We help the customer to monitor this whole chain with a capability we call it milestone plan. And milestone plan is the ideal progressing of events in this world. And we know these things do not happen ideally. So we put also tracking capabilities on top of this milestone plan, identify disruptions, inform the stakeholders, not only within the company, but also their business partners. So you're working with suppliers, you're working with tracking companies, you're working with custom agencies. It's important that all these business partners in your ecosystem has access to the same data, but from their own perspective. This is what we provide them basically using our SaaS platform.
Okay, thanks for mentioning the whole chain, in fact, but in that chain, there are several stakeholders from the supplier to the carriers, for example. Give us an idea about you need data also. So how welcoming is the entire stakeholders in terms of providing the data, sharing the data, and how well you are able to maybe respond to some of the data and churn it around and give it back. How it really works?
I get this question very often because and please correct me if I'm wrong, I think the assumption behind this question is the ecosystem players are not always interested in providing data, right?
Yeah.
And I tell you what, it is actually the opposite. Okay. Usually the opposite, because supply chain is a team sport. So they consider themselves, for instance, the suppliers, as a part of the team of our customer in this case. They are also their customer, right? So they want customer to be happy. If they want this customer to be happy, number one. Secondly, if they want to work also in an efficient manner, they are happy to join this platform and share information with this platform, because that information is being shared between them in other ways anyway, like emails, like sending out Excel files or whatever. So this information is being shared via fax, telephone, whatever. So why not sharing it in a digitalized manner, which is much more efficient for everyone, and making it less error prone, giving up disruption. So they are actually welcoming this process, and we are also making it easier for them. So it's not only hey, you have to go to the platform, log in, and enter the data. If they are more advanced than that, we are happy to offer connections or API connections to them. We are happy to support their EDI connections. So it can work very efficient for many business partners in this game.
Can you also give us an idea about who are the real stakeholders there, and plus are you trying to include more stakeholders in this chain? For example, how about insurance companies coming in between, or what if when there is a disruption? Okay, in terms of plan B, can we have a different vessel coming in or a different carrier coming in between?
So we know that these things are not so easy to organize, but if you are prepared, then it's possible. So I'll respond to this question about alternative vessels. If you are prepared for that plan B, that is possible. And we offer capabilities to define these scenarios. So if you anticipate that your vessel A might fail and you might need a vessel B, this is a scenario that we can build in the digital twin, by the way, and then describe how that scenario would look like. Happens, this thing happens, this disruption comes to life, then you know what to do. Your teams know what to do. They don't have to organize an emergency meeting, a fire drill, to organize the second thing, right? Because they've done this scenario already, they've done the rehearsal, and potentially they already have a contract with the vessel B company, right? So that's possible. You mentioned insurance. Currently, we observe many ideas, many developments towards that direction. I think that's something to explore. Definitely, it's interesting.
Okay, Alex, you mentioned particularly about how these technologies or disruptions you are turning it into a competitive advantage for your clients. We are here in Singapore at the Transport Logistics Southeast Asia. Give us an idea about um, what you are expecting from this market in the next few years. Do you have any targets set here? What we can expect from Siemens digital logistics in terms of news coming out? Uh,
Yeah, so we are very focused, of course, in the supply chain market in Southeast Asia because I think this is a very important market. If we are able to understand this market well, and we really know this because we have been doing this not just in Asia, we have done this in Europe, but we want to bring in the best practices from Europe into Asia, and then leveraging the combined, the strength of Siemens as a company. As you know, that we have presence in all the ASEAN countries in Southeast Asia. So so we combine best practices from global practices, and then combining with local support, local knowledge, and local relationship, so that we can then understand what the customer need and then address their challenges together with our solution from SDL. So that's my expectation from SDL. But on the whole, for Southeast Asia, the way I see it is that logistics, supply chain is one of the factors, and of course, with the entire digital transformation tool that we have, we bring even more value for our customer, and I think that's the where we are really going. We are not just a pure play logistic player. We are strong in that, but think of us as a total solution provider from end to end. For any company that need to orchestrate from design all the way to supply chain, you have to consider the entire value chain of the entire life cycle. So not just looking at logistics itself. That will be a strategic advantage companies can have today by partnering with Siemens.
Hey, it's very interesting to see how you look at the entire, the larger picture rather than just one, the logistics and supply chain. But yes, there's a technology company. Give us an idea about what is a new type of technologies that is transforming the industry basically, and what is coming up.
Yeah.
Give us
So we are very big on cloud. Siemens believe that for us the future is really moving into the cloud. So we are very big, and of course SDL is a cloud-based SaaS solution. The second thing is AI, industrial AI. Siemens is one of the largest investor of industrial AI in the world. We have invested a lot in industrial AI, and that is pervasive across our solution. And it's also coming into the logistics. So we believe that AI is going to play a very big role, and we have also tools that support the agentic AI application development. For example, low code like Mendix that complements together with our SDL, and then of course SDL also can integrate with our Ops Center execution. So we are looking at not just a logistics that I mentioned, AI driven software with manufacturing execution, low code application development, and our supply chain suite. That's the kind of market that we are looking at that will really support the technology that we're looking at to support this market. And of course, we believe that apart from technology, the human has to improve, has to learn along the way. There's always a lot of jobs. A lot of people asking me, "Will AI take away my job?" We always say, "Well, I think AI is not taking your job. It's the person that is using AI that is taking the other person's job." So today, I would say that for those who are really coming into this industry, they are looking at this disruption. Embracing changes is the way to go, because it will not stay the same in the next 5 years.
Alex, thanks for mentioning the human resource. Definitely, that's very important. Can you give us an idea about, maybe this is my last question, but give us an idea about your team here in Southeast Asia, how you keep them inspired maybe, and it's a very important job that you have, technology, handling your clients, how you keep them inspired and how you update them, your human resource at here.
Well, I mean, Siemens is an inspirational company. We ourselves have been transforming ourselves a lot, right? And if you look at the kind of technology that we are involved in, we have, for example, done an acquisition for a company called Altair last year. They are successfully integrated, and it's one of the largest and most successful AI-driven simulation company in the world. So for us, the only thing constant is change. So we have to continue to evolve and to learn, and then to think about how this technology apply into real-world customer applications. So for us, we are, as a company, right, we are really encouraged to think forward and to think differently, and to also help our customer to differentiate by using our technology. And I believe that the kind of talent that we have working for Siemens is really, I would say, one of the best in the industry that you can find. I'm really happy that I'm leading this, of course, Southeast Asia. We really have the best people to help our customer to drive, and of course, we have support from our talent from Europe. They constantly bring new perspective into Asia, and that actually get filtered down into the team, and then they can actually pick up and help our customer as well.
Emir, one last question to you. What is next in digital logistics technology?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to give an example from the AI field, right? So we have this cloud platform supporting manufacturing companies, but also logistics service providers. And we are going to publish an AI capability that is going to take your documents and in supply chain area, you get thousands and millions of types of documents in many languages. You put your document into our platform. We take the information out of that document, and integrate the information into the workflows, depending on what that document is. Just to give you an idea, if that's an invoice and there is a value that your system was not expecting, we detect that. We kick off a clarification workflow and hit it off basically, right? So that's how we are going to expand the capability of platform. It's not limited to invoices, it's limited to many other different documentation types. It's not limited to logistics service providers that offer value-added services to their customers. You can use it in quality area, you can use it in inbound inspection area, wherever documents are being generated in supply chain. This is going to be a huge feature. I'm proud that we are going to publish it very soon.
Do you think customs can also be a part of that thing?
It depends. So it depends on the process, it depends on the use case, but yes, why not?
Emir, thank you so much for joining us. Alex, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for that.